Hey everybody, it's John here from VidGamiac.com. Here we are today back in Back to the Future, grabbing the Fuel Master achievement. This is done in episode 1. It's done towards the end of the episode, and it is to do the part where you're making the fuel for the rocket drill. And to get this achievement, you have to do this part without messing up. Now, this is how this part works. Basically, Doc is going to get into an argument with his dad, and he's going to give you cues through subtext on what to do. So there's going to be 4 devices you have here to work with. If he says something about lightning or spinning or a crank, you want to crank the lightning generator, which is off to the far right. If he says something about eating or microorganisms or bacteria, you want to feed the fish tank off to the left. If he says something about air or a windbag or a bladder, you want to pump the release gas pressure valve. And if he says something about fire, hot air, or bellow, you want to stoke the fire. Now, I recommend having subtitles on because you can see what he's saying, so you don't have to listen and you can just read. The problem with this is his father will also say some things to try to mess you up, so you have to do the stuff that the doc is saying. So when you're reading it or when you're listening to it, you have to do it with some context, because if you are doing the thing that the dad is saying, then you will mess up the achievement. So this one's very easy to mess up because of course, you can always accidentally hit something wrong, or if you can do something too slow, you'll also mess up. So if you do mess up, just exit out of the game and then load from the start of the chapter, and you should be good. So just keep listening to the dude, and you should be good. This whole segment takes about 4 minutes or so to get through. So here we go. The dude's going to say shock, so we're going to turn the electric crank. And the dad's going to talk right here. He also says spark, so we're going to ignore whatever the dad's saying and only listen to Doc Brown. So Doc Brown's going to say something about burning, so we're going to stoke the fire. And then the dad's going to say something. We're going to ignore that. And he says feed, so we're going to feed the fish tank right here. And then ignore the dad again. And the order is completely random, so keep that in mind. So he's going to go rotations, and we're going to turn the crank. The dad's going to talk, ignore everything the dad's saying. Flame, use the fire, and you should be good. There's a couple of tricky ones out there, like bellow, but that's fire, or bladders, that's the release gas valve. So just keep it up. If you keep messing up, eventually you'll get a run where it's good. So we got release valve right here, release the valve. That one's pretty self-explanatory. And you got turn the crank, and you got bellow. This is the tricky one that almost got me, but that one's to stoke the fire. And here we go, bags of gas. That one's obvious. So grab the gas, and then scatter. That one's a feeding one. Once again, a couple of these are either tricky because you don't get them too often, or tricky because the wording is off. It can mean 2 things. So just try your best. I'm pretty sure there's a list out there somewhere you can use, but this is the basic strategy to just look for context clues and figure it out. And with enough practice, you should be able to get it down. And you know you messed up once Doc Brown comes down the stairs and tells you what did you do. So just keep it up, and eventually you should get it down. And once he's finished arguing with his dad, you're going to go through the cutscene on that Marty takes the engine. And once you do that, you should get the achievement for 15 gamer score. And that's all there is to it.